Listen to Rangers, welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
This is Gabra, and my name is Arnes.
And today, moving on to one of our favorite kaijus, or at least Arnes' favorite kaijus, Mothra. Which we're going to be going over the 1996 film Rebirth of Mothra, which is the first in a trilogy that we will be making Arnes watch.
Is it sad that I finally found a movie worse than this one?
Wah, wah, wah. So for the plot of the movie, we have a logging company that...
Steve. I got this. It's a sand-dam hogwash we're being forced down by this,
Enterprise?
Yes, Enterprise, telling us how horrible we are in destroying the planet Earth. That's what this movie's about.
Seems to happen a lot lately with a lot of these movies.
A lot.
Seriously, though, for the plot. Logging company is destroying the woods. They find a hidden ancient prison that contains a monster. Pretty much. So the guy's like, oh look, something shiny's on top of the rock. Pries it out with a screwdriver, takes it, unleashes Dadora, and now Mothra has to defeat it after giving birth and is dying.
I'm not going into this movie, no.
We gotta go into it, man. For the plot of this movie.
Garbage.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. Something we could agree on. Because for starters, all of us. Gabra's in on this too. He doesn't talk much, but he's here. We appreciate him nonetheless.
Wait, you want to hear his plot on this movie?
Sure.
Okay, what about his thoughts now?
Man, Gabra, you're really, really hateful on this film.
Exactly. Nothing.
But yeah, the movie has really bad pacing issues where, at the beginning of the movie, you're kind of interested because they unlock, you're like, oh man, what's this, hidden prison that's under the ground? What happens when they pop it up? Why didn't the monster just magically appear? I'm kind of invested in this at the moment.
Why didn't nobody see that stone going down and the light coming up?
Yeah. I also too, that, where the hell are these fairies that they can hear the screwdriver hitting the rock? Because when that's happening, I'm thinking they're the ones that are trapped at the time.
Me too. It was shaking and everything.
Yeah, because you're that's what I was assuming. Belvera, Maul, and Laura. You have them just what's going on? And then just stuff then guy pries it, things down. Nothing happens.
While the evil fairy's he got it.
So, the dad that decided to pry this, as an awesome father figure that he is, which actually, it did seem that bad at the time, he decides to give it to his daughter after his wife guilt trips him into coming back because he's a horrible person. Because he's on business, making money to support their family.
They deserve each other.
Yeah, so he comes back, gives her the rock, and then it's drinking in her bed. Her mom's like, you can't do that in this room. But it's he's drinking in the house anyways, what does it matter? Really? So Belvera shows up, decides to brainwash everybody in the house, except for the little boy who sticks the most adorable dog on him. Because that dog did not look intimidated at all.
No.
You can tell they voiced over the barking, but they didn't care. He's just like, hey, how's it going? Why are you in the tree? And you just hear the audio play in the background. But he looks happy.
The dog was actually kind of happy to see the kid.
Yep. So we have this epic fight that happens in the kitchen and the living room of the house because it's all kind of the same enclosed area. She ends up getting away with the medallion and unleashing Dadora by brainwashing her dad into driving a construction vehicle into the side of the mountain with a bunch of dynamite hooked to it. And then there's a tiny little explosion. She's like, yes, success. And then she does her thing. Monster comes out. Oh, noes.
Do you notice she uses that medallion as a shield?
Yeah, the medallion gets used for a lot of things. It's kind of just a plot purpose.
She's Captain America. Well, Captain Japan.
Yeah, I wish she was just whipping it around.
Yeah, she's Captain Japan.
Sweet. But essentially, once we get to the house sequences and when we start dealing with the humans, that's where this movie really starts to lose my interest. Then we get to the monster fights. The movie starts picking up a little bit again. I'm like, yay, slightly invested in this. Then Mothra loses her first time fighting the monster, and then we're back to the people. Still not caring. This is when you grab your phone and you start looking up things on Facebook while you wait for the monster fight to show back up. I did too. Then monster fights start happening. You're like, okay, cool. Mostly a lot of the same thing, just a lot of beam fest, but still pretty sweet. And you're back to people and not caring again. And then the movie just kind of ends.
The greatest part of this movie was the ending.
It's true. Because I love how the Earth's destroyed. oh man, we're such horrible people for destroying this forest. And Mothra's like, I got this.
And you know what? That was the saddest part of the movie too, Steve.
Also ends with a rainbow.
The ending of that movie was the saddest part too.
Huh.
Because right after there was going to be 2 more.
You still got more to go through.
Yeah.
And then, like we've just been hitting on, some of the other bad parts is the actors. God.
Oh my god.
Like we brought up before, like some of this stuff kind of sounds bad, but that's mainly like the dubbing. Like the acting doesn't really seem like it's that bad, but it's just like the voiceover isn't that great in some of these dubs. Well, this one, if you're watching the dub, it actually helps because like you could tell that just stuff isn't happening as clean as it should be. Like there's the instance when like they untie the mom in the kitchen fight scene and she just screams randomly, and then the camera just stays on her for way too long. Just like, why?
Oh, there's a reason why she screams.
Yeah, stuff's happening.
Yeah,
but then you cut away.
There's certain stuff, though, that's happening. Certain thing happened. You didn't pay a lot of attention to this movie, did you, Steve?
I noticed her stuff was exploding, but that probably wouldn't be the reason I would be mainly screaming.
Well, at the beginning, you remember, like, how her husband or the kid's father was looking for a chain? And
she said that's...
Yeah, he went to touch that
valuable.
certain thing, and she's like, oh, no. And then she blows it up with the shield.
Yes. So even just a little scream would have been okay. Now, we have to sit on the actor for a few seconds to really try to sink in those emotions. Also, what the heck's up with all the brainwash people in this movie? Because there's a... When I'm going to brainwash somebody, first thing I'm going to have them do, eat all the snacks in the house. All of them. Also, why do they have so many snacks in that freaking house? For starters. It's not even that big of a place. Like, do they just have not any other food? No nourishment? We need nourishment, people! Toros meat!
Yeah, puffins.
Yeah, that's all she was eating. Puffins. There's just really not too much else to really say other than just we've seen this movie a lot of times beforehand. It's not really a whole lot new, and to be honest, Godzilla Mothra Battle for Earth, pretty much the same story, and it did it a lot better.
Oh god, a lot better. Oh god, I caught myself saying that.
It's okay. Okay.
No, it's not. Should have known not to watch this. I should have Wikipedia'd the crap out of this.
I would have been upset with you if you did. We'll move on to the more exciting part of this movie, the costumes. Because we have Mothra, who, when I was watching this movie, could have sworn it's the same puppet from Godzilla Mothra Battle for Earth. I was like 95% certain. Also, you see the same Mothra in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. And I guess it was used for like a special appearance or something. That's not when I was looking up stuff. Can't remember exactly. But anyways, it's actually a different Mothra for this one. Even though it looks a lot similar, it is a different maquette.
I thought it was the same, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same color scheme, which kind of made me start thinking, like, is this tied into the Heisei Godzilla movies? But then the fairies are called the Cosmos, they're called the Ilios in this one. So it doesn't really tie in with Godzilla, which kind of, I'd hope not, because this is way too much destruction for one little country to take. But Mothra still looks cool as ever. Very pretty, very colorful. You also have Mothra Leo, which is the boy Mothra, which you get the larva version of that one. Which mostly looks like most every other larva except it's super slimy in this one. And it shoots a beam out of its tummy.
I didn't get that part.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's just something weird. And then its silk spray actually causes damage this time around.
That Mothra had some issues, dude. I have never seen somebody shoot so many beams before.
Yeah, especially when it's in the fully evolved form, which it's called Leo Mothra, or Mothra Leo, because it's a boy. And it shoots like the beams out of like its little tri-star shape on its forehead. Yeah, it's just more beam fest. Although this way, it runs into him a couple times. You get that to look forward to.
Okay, and then why did the larva go invisible?
Because it's camouflage. The boy explained in the movie. It's their natural instinct. All larvas camouflage. By doing the predator camo.
Thank you.
And then when you set things on fire, it just stops working. Just like Predator.
I was going to say something. Thank you again.
No problem. Also having to pertain to Mothra too is like when the mother's like, how is the moth going to beat the giant demon three-headed dragon thingy? And he's just like, bees kill more people than snake bites every year, Mom. It's a fact. Runs off. And then what does the mom do? Hey, daughter, go get him while I stay with my man. She's like, I'm going with him too, and they both run off, and the parents just stay there.
Priorities, man.
Bravo. Bravo, parents. Also like, too, like, when all this crap's going off, when Dadora is exploding out of the ground, parents just kind of sit back while, the one's knocked out. Mom decides to go check out on the husband, leaves the kids alone to go fend for themselves. Bravo. Bravo. But Mothra Leo is actually a really cool looking suit, though. Or puppet, I should say. Like, it is super, super colorful. I actually have a few figures of it. Of the Rainbow Mothra.
That thing did not look cool. It had creepy legs.
That was awesome. It's super fluffy. It even has like the giant fluff antennas.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that thing's super sweet.
That thing was creepy.
Probably the best thing about this movie is actually the maquettes and the suits. Then we have Fairy, who's probably the worst looking out of the butterflies that we have that Mole and Laura fly around on. When you're flying around on it, it's not really all that bad. Well, it looks pretty fake in comparison to the Mothras. And then we get to the part where Fairy loses a bit of its powers and it becomes just an action figure just sitting in the guy's lap.
That... We gotta stop here for 1 second about these suits. That was the worst transaction from CGI to a puppet I have ever seen in my life. No, it's okay.
It was losing its power, so what happens is it goes from being kind of shiny to dull and plastic.
And I watched Dragon Wars, people. And Dragon Ball Z Evolution. I have watched a lot of bad movies, trust me. That was the worst.
Yeah, I can't defend it. It's pretty bad. So Fairy's just like, whatever. They need something they'll fly around on to get from place to place. And then you have Garu, who was Belvera's monster, which is like the weird little dragon puppet. I think he's cool. He's kind of cute.
I like his damage range on his beams, where it goes from knocking off a backpack on a kid to knocking out a wall. It was just like the varieties in his strength was amazing.
Oh yeah, they don't really want to kill the kids. This movie's meant for children. It wasn't meant for us. I can tell you that right now. And then the best looking thing in this movie is Dadora, which is
King Ghidorah?
Another King Ghidorah. But this time it walks on all fours. It doesn't have wings at the beginning of the movie. It actually has to evolve over time, consuming trees because trees live longer, which means they provide more energy. Although I thought that's why carnivores eat meat, is because meat provides more energy.
You're wrong. Trees.
Okay. But the suit is really cool looking. It actually is far enough away from King Ghidorah, other than just it being a flying dragon with 3 heads, to where I actually appreciate the suit a lot more. Because like with the Heisei Ghidorah, it's my personal favorite of the Ghidorahs, but it's still fairly reminiscent of the Showa version. It just really, if it just had the hair on the back of its head, it'd be mostly the same. Well, with Heisei Ghidorah, it's not golden. It's actually a weird blackish brown color. Its head sculpt's actually a little bit different. It's actually fairly different than what we've seen with King Ghidorah. And it's just a cool, giant, bulky monster. The only thing that's kind of meh about it is when it's flying around.
Yet again, it goes to
it's not a very mobile monster.
Goes to the CGI part, I think.
Yeah, which also kind of hurts it in a certain sense too, because since it's not a very mobile monster and it walks on all fours, again, for this movie, not a whole lot of confrontation. It's a lot of beams. But I think you'd appreciate it more. Actually, it has a flamethrower. It goes right out of its mouth. I know you don't see the tube that well, but...
Oh, I don't know. That was pretty bad. I'm pretty sure y'all saw like the whole thing.
It's just like right out of its mouth. But it does shoot a decent amount of variety and weaponry, and it's a pretty imposing looking kaiju. Like, I can understand why the older Mothra is going to lose to it.
Because it's old?
Yeah, it's kind of like how I lost to Godzilla in the original. God, please find a new plot. And then finally we'll move on to the special effects, which, for the prop work of this movie, isn't really all that bad, other than the toy fairy. It's probably the worst thing. And then when Garu gets destroyed at the end, where it goes Terminator on us. It's cool, but like it's, to me, the suit in damage form looks a little bit too different between the two.
A lot different. You can definitely tell.
Yeah, especially since it's mostly like this head was still fairly intact, so you think it would still kind of hold the same shapes, but it looked a lot different. And then, like we mentioned before, the CG transitioning from fairy into plastic fairy is not the greatest. That entire fight sequence in the kitchen
was horrible.
Yeah, for, like, kid me, pretty entertaining. Adult me, not so much. You can especially tell, too, that they're pretty much... Like, they literally are moving the characters to make the special effects they set up work. Because then, when you're watching it, like, some of the flight patterns really get janky. Like, Mothra will be, like, curving upwards, and it's like... to make sure it makes, like, that little effect work. And you see a lot of that when it's flying around, and it just isn't really that good.
No,
it's really hard to watch. But when you have the giant monster fights, like with Mothra, Descador, or Leo, Descador, that's actually pretty entertaining, though. Because granted, it's pretty much just explosions and beams, but it's awesome looking explosions and beams. Michael Bay would have been proud to watch this movie.
Maybe he did.
Maybe. He's just one of those, like, silent producers we never got to see in the movie. He's off doing Bad Boys and Rebirth of Mothra. But the set pieces are pretty sweet, though. Like with the forest.
Which one's your favorite?
I personally like the setup that they had for the prison site. And then when it finally rises out of the ground, that was really cool.
I still like the house.
The house? That's not really a prop, it's a house. So your least favorite scene in the movie is also your favorite prop?
Yes. Because it's all garbage.
Alright, I guess we'll just conclude this movie. For Rebirth of Mothra, again, suits are pretty cool in this movie. Special effects, more or less, work for the most part. It's generally pertaining to the giant monster fights. It works really well. Most everything else, not so much. And the plot's just not good at all.
At all.
It's depressing that we went from Gamera 2, which I would say is probably the best movie in the Heisei series for giant monsters, and one of the best monster movies of all time, in my opinion. And then we go on to this one.
Like I said.
Which I'm going to say is probably the worst out of the Heisei series.
Like I said, we finally found a movie worse than this one.
I don't know if I go that far.
Oh, no. We will go that far. At least I was expecting this crap story and crap CGI and puppets.
It was the 60s.
Exactly. This is the 90s. This was supposed to be
96. Like, Independence Day came out in 1996. Granted, they didn't have the budget of Independence Day, but just as some comparisons of what could have happened.
You know the difference between Independence Day and this movie?
Probably like $50 million.
And Will Smith. That was about 45 million right there.
That's true. So yeah, unless you really, really love Mothra, or have kids that you want to get into the giant monster universe,
then don't start them with this movie, please.
Okay, if you got kids, I condone this movie.
No.
I think kids will enjoy this for the most part, because the kids have a little bit more of a role in this one.
No. I had Kanan watch this with me.
And the CGs are cool. Yeah, but he's spoiled. He's watched Aliens.
25 minutes in, he was like, I'm out, Dad. I was like, don't leave me. Please come back. No.
What would you guys think of Rebirth of Mothra? Please let us know in the comment section below if you guys actually enjoyed this movie. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.